Okay. Dianne DeFalco. Okay. You are my colleague at Howard Hanna Rand. You manage the Stony Point office, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I manage the Goshen and Pine Bush offices too.
How do I goof that?
Orange County.
So you manage two offices, two big offices, two high producing offices in
Yeah,
Orange County.
one's big and one's little, but yeah, two offices in Orange County, and yeah, that's where I
Okay.
am.
So we're doing case studies, profiles in real excellence, where agents did things, really way beyond just, rubber stamping the transaction and being middlemen. And I really want you to share
Right.
what you did for these clients. So take me back. Tell me
Okay.
about the setting. Tell me all about it.
I can actually tell you it was 10 years ago, but I never forgot this because we're non-compete managers, right? So I don't really work with buyers now. And these friends of mine asked me to work with their daughter and son-in-law. So I take this to heart. I was flattered. They knew a lot of realtors. They chose me. And, we're friends, but now I have their daughter and son-in-law. And so we'd been looking, we found a house that they fell in love with. This just checked all the boxes. Very sad, tragic story as to why the house was on the market. And we knew this going in. Sadly, the owner had been killed in a car accident. So
Wow.
it was like, yeah, it's terrible, right? You feel badly. His son and daughter had to sell the house. They did not live there. This was an older gentleman, lived alone. He was killed in the car accident, and now kids come back to New York to sell this property. So we're feeling pretty badly. We don't want to be nitpicky. And we start the home inspection, and even his clothes were still in the dryer. So this is really like tugging at everybody's heartstrings.
Now,
And
just imagine that, people think that it's like on TV, everybody's happy sellers, happy
oh
buyers.
yeah,
And like
yeah,
we deal with like, the tougher stuff,
yeah.
right?
It was
Wow.
terrible. Yeah. So we're feeling so sad when we hear this, and we're, oh my God, it's just terrible. Anyhow, he was very neat and meticulous about his home. You could tell, you just know those older ones. I love those properties because you just know they've really taken good care of it. Um, and it was a standard bi-level style home. It had an in-ground pool. It had a new stone wall, like in the backyard. So this really was, they were loving it. A little dated inside. They knew they would update eventually. And this, contrary to a standard, like a normal bi-level where it's higher up, the sliders from the kitchen went directly out to an on-ground deck, which led to the in-ground pool, surrounded by this stone wall. So anyhow, inspection's going well, and the home inspector notices two small pipes coming from the furnace into the ground. First time I learned this, just for the general public, that would indicate, that's like a little hint that there may have been at one time, but potentially still is, a below ground oil tank. There
A
was an
below
above
ground oil
ground
tank.
one.
Okay.
Yeah. So there was an above ground one in the garage, but nobody knew. And again, the owner is deceased, so we have nobody to speak to. Kids are grown and moved away. So I said, okay, we're going to have to do a tank sweep. We have to see if we can find this. And the kids, I'm going to call them the kids because they're my friend's kids. And she said, oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. And I said, no, it's not okay. We still have to do this. But again, you're feeling terrible that I'm asking for things, but I work for them. I don't work for the sellers. And my only consolation was, when the house sells, everything will be settled. Anyhow, long story short, or long story longer, whichever you want to say, they did find a tank. And it was under that on-ground tank.
You mean the deck?
Excuse me, on-ground deck. So the tank was under that deck, which covered the ground. It's not like, you could walk under the deck. So now this deck that's covering the yard now has to come up.
Okay, so
And
the home inspector that you recommended, probably, right?
yes, mm-hmm.
Finds evidence of what could really be a potential catastrophic oil contamination.
Yeah, it could be a hazard. Yeah, yeah.
And the buyers, they don't want to make waves. They got their accepted offer. They just want to make
They just
nice.
want to
It's
be in
under
the
the
house.
ground. We can't see it. It's not a problem.
Yeah,
But you know better, right? You
I
know,
do.
got to
Yeah,
investigate. And lo and behold, there is a tank.
there is. We found it.
Okay.
And I said, all right, now we have to ask for this deck to come up. And they said, oh, Diane, please. Like, they just felt awful. They're the sweetest couple. And I said to them, okay, wait. I said, my realtor hat has been on this whole time, and we really have to do this. I said, but now I'm going to take my realtor hat off and I'm put my mommy hat on because you are my friend's child. I'm going to treat you like my own. And if you were my daughter, I would not let you proceed unless we did this, knowing what I know. And she said, okay. I said, look, and they were anxious. They wanted to get in their new house. I said, it's going to be delayed, but we have to do this. We have to do it. And so they did. They had to remove the deck from the yard,
The
take
seller
that whole
did.
thing up. Yeah, so that's disappointing, right? You have this nice deck, this flat deck that goes to your in-ground pool. They just wanted to be in. They wanted to get in that pool. And I
Yeah.
said, please just trust me. Please trust me on this. We have to do this. They took it up. There was a minor leak. There wasn't anything major, thank God. So they got it out. And I did not ask for the deck to be put back on, for them to do a new deck. But in the end, I did ask them for a $10,000 reduction because now my clients are going to have to put a deck. They agreed to put a new deck on themselves. They didn't want to put this family through anything further. So now we got a $10,000 price reduction.
Okay. So let me kind of summarize so far. So you know how major oil leaks start
Yeah,
as
go ahead.
minor oil leaks,
Right, right.
right?
Good
And we
point. Yeah,
know we know that there are people out there who would be like, it's underground, not a big deal,
right.
whatever. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's quite possible that this house was also on well and septic.
Um, no, we were lucky. It was
Oh,
not.
okay, you're
But it was
fortunate.
super close. But the tank itself, my fear was it was basically right beside the pool, the in-ground pool.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
So
so
if major stuff had to happen and soil had to be cleared, this really could have potentially have been a major hazard. Yeah, you're right.
a problem like that where there's a considerable oil tank compromise and a leak and a spillage. First of all, that gets reported to the Department of Environmental Conservation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
DEC, yeah.
so what you essentially did was you potentially save them from a potential $30,000-$40,000 problem. You got them $10,000 so that they could replace the deck. You saved the pool. You really saved everything. And you also can look them in the eye for the rest of their life because you know they'll never come to you and say, when we told you don't worry about it, and you said, okay, we won't worry about it, you should have told us to worry about it. That
I
will
should have
never
worried
happen
about,
to you,
right? No,
right?
no, thank God.
This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm
Yeah,
talking about. And the other thing you weren't thinking about was your commission. You put
no,
their needs ahead of your check.
yeah, always. I mean, people just don't realize that everybody thinks real estate's super glamorous, and they watch all the shows and everything. I wish it was like that. And sometimes, yeah, you get a bonus, you get a
Yeah.
vanilla deal, and everybody wants a vanilla deal. But there's always something. But investigating further for your buyer is, I mean, that's huge. They are going into this home, which, by the way, they are still in. And on the day of closing, she announced she was expecting. So it did go that far that it was delayed. It was really delayed. And I'm happy to say it's so funny that this is the story that's coming up because she just gave birth to a baby girl like 2 days ago. So now they have 3 children. This is 10 years later. They're in that happy home. I see videos and reels of the boys jumping in the pool and everything. They're enjoying their home. It's nice.
I love it.
But yeah, that was a big deal.
So when we deal with the skeptics, the people that say, we're just middlemen, one of the things they say is, we're not really necessary because, look, we all want the same thing. The seller wants to sell, the buyer wants to buy. And those kind of cookie cutter vanilla deals that you describe, they're really the
Hmm.
exceptions and not the rule. We have to
Agreed.
protect our clients, sometimes even from themselves, because your guys didn't want to make waves. Now, think about if for one reason
Yeah,
or another,
they were being sympathetic and kind people. They
yeah.
weren't, they didn't, we weren't being nitpicky, say. We really didn't pick on the little things. To me, this was something major that really needed to be investigated. And had I listened to them, yeah, they would have just gone along, and who knows then what would have happened.
All right. So look, here's the thing. I would want if I lived near the Goshen office or what's the other office? It's
Yeah,
the
Pine Bush.
Pine
Hmm.
Bush.
That's where I am right now.
And I
Yeah.
were an agent, you're the kind of manager that I would want to work under because you would train me to do the business right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we go through it a lot. We have a lot of conversations about this in both offices, and I just, you know what, put yourself in that position like I did. I wouldn't want my child, and that's how I had to treat them, right? Just as my friend's daughter and son-in-law. To me, that's family. Then you
Yeah,
just entrusted your children to my care. That means you trust me to take good care of them,
100%.
and yeah, that would be so unfair if I just said, okay, if you're not worried about it and you feel bad, like let's just keep going and we'll get you closed. And you can't do that. The reason we exist, and I think you'll agree, is to give counsel.
Yeah,
That's
100%.
that's what we are, not attorney counsel, but or to our counsel might be that you need to now go to an attorney and go a step above us. I don't believe in crossing over. I
Of
don't
course not.
believe in crossing borders there. But we have enough knowledge and enough training, especially within our company, that we really do arm our agents with good information, and we're constantly educating them. And I think educating your clients is paramount, and it's part of your service. It
I
really
love
should
it.
be part of your service.
I love it. Thank you, Diane. This was a
You're
great
welcome.
example. And
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me.
it will be, well, it was
This is
easy.
fun.
This will be up shortly, but an excellent job.
Thanks.